Hello, my name is Dr. Bertaud, and this channel is a new channel that's going to be focused on relationships. I'm going to do my best to help solve some of your relationship problems as you're in them, before you go into them, and as you're coming out of them. So our first episode is going to be around that question that everybody asks. How long does it take to get over a breakup? I'll share with you one thing. Before we get started, I just want you to know I'm sitting in Argentina. I'm in Buenos Aires. And there's a little traffic going on the outside. So if you hear anything in the background, I'm so very sorry and I apologize for it. But I will try to speak clearly. So let's get back to our first episode, which is how long does it take to get over a breakup? Okay. The first thing I'll tell you is a short segment of something I experienced when it comes to the pain that you feel when you have a loss. When my mother died, it was very, very difficult for me. I went home, I buried her, I came back to Germany at that point, and I had to move on with life as if nothing happened. However, I was dealing with loss. The same thing you deal with when you're going through a relationship, in a sense. There is pain associated with that loss. Okay, so I talked to a family member that was actually, feeling so much better. They were feeling so much more alive and everything. And I was like, how are you doing this? We just lost our mother. And they were like, oh, I went to a doctor. The doctor talked to me, I get counseling, and I also receive medication. At that point, I turned myself on to the same exact thing. I went to a doctor, I got antidepressants, and guess what? I was able to help myself get through that loss. As I said, it's really busy out here, so I do apologize for the noise, and I hope you could have heard what I said before. However, I gauged that time, and I was like, okay, I was on this medication from about 8 to 9 months. After 8 or 9 months, I was off of the medication. That let me know that my body had its own timetable when it came to dealing with the pain of loss. It also matched completely up when I was coming out of my relationships. So I now understand that the time it takes for me to get over a breakup is 8 or 9 months. You have to figure out what that time frame is for you. Now, if you have a personality disorder, we'll speak about that shortly, okay? If you have a personality disorder, something that is located in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, okay, which is called the DSM-5. If you have an abandonment disorder, which the way that they categorize it in the DSM-5, it is a dependent personality disorder. In there, it actually notes that excessive behavior from one relationship to another. Time one relationship ends, you excessively want to move on to a new relationship. That is just a small part of the dependent personality disorder, which is also categorized as an abandonment disorder. Okay? This is where you're probably going to experience a lot of the anxiety of the loss. Okay? If that is what you're dealing with, then you have to be strong enough to make this apparent to yourself. You have to acknowledge that I have this problem. It's not just the regular loss of a relationship. It is more catered towards that disorder that I just mentioned, that dependent personality disorder. Okay, we won't go into, how far back it goes, because it does let you know inside the DSM-5 that that disorder begins from childhood or early in your adolescence, and how your parents made you overly dependent of their help. What does that mean when it comes to relationships and when it has to do with breakups? Breakups can be very, very intense for an individual that suffers from the dependency personality disorder, or should I say dependent personality disorder. It's going to be very different. Now, I can say that back in my past, it was the same for me. I would get out of one relationship and immediately rebound. That rebound is it's on the line of that personality disorder. It is very hard sometimes to treat personality disorders. However, there are ways to manage them, okay? And there are ways to grow into a different personality, a different being, okay? So how might it all sum up when it comes to actually the breakup itself? You're going to experience that excessive need to have someone in your space, to have someone with you, to have someone to support everything you do. The disorder makes it where you want to be submissive. You don't want to disagree. So there are times when you will put up with things or deal with things just so you do not have to experience that loss. But you can't stop the loss from happening. So how long does it take to get through a breakup? It depends on your personality and whether or not there is some type of mental health disorder involved, or it just depends on you as an individual. And have you figured out how long it takes? Like I said, for me, 8 to 9 months. And I am pretty much coming out of that pain of a breakup. So, this is Dr. Bertaud, and I hope I was able to answer or give you a little bit of insight on how long it takes to get through a breakup. How long it takes to get over the pain of a breakup. If you have any questions, please make sure you put them down in the comments, because I would love to acknowledge you. And at the same time, please like, share, and subscribe. This channel is not going anywhere. This is episode 1 of He and She Can Be. And I'm Dr. Bertaud. Goodbye.